This is chapter 12D on solving simple equations using multiplication and division. Now, we are going to solve the equations, but again, we're going to talk about formal written methods. So, simply in this slide, we're talking about multiplying. So, solving each of these equations. So, you have 3 times n makes 15. Like I said, coefficient next to a variable means multiplication. Makes 15. So then, 3 times what makes 15? Well, n has to be equal to 5. Because 3 times 5 makes 15. And that makes sense. Because if we test it out, 3 times 5, 15, 15, 15, both sides are equal. That means it's balanced. So pause and complete B, C, D. In this case, 4 times what makes 12? Well, n is 3. C, 5 times what makes 35? N is 37. N is 7. In D, 7 times what makes 14? Well, N is 2. Now, we're going to talk about division. So in A, this is what it looks like. N over 5 is the same thing as saying N divided by 5. So if you think about it, n divided by 5 is equal to 3. So it's asking you, what number possibly divided by the 5 will make 3? So this has to be 15, because 15 divided by 5 makes 3. So n equals 15. And at this time, pause. So B, what number divided by 4 makes 2? N has to be 8. What number divided by 7 makes 6? N has to be 42. Some number divided by 6 makes 4. N has to be 24. And En divided by 7 makes 2. So N has to be 14. So now what we have to do is talk about formal written methods. Now, in order to show how we solve for n when we have a multiplication or division problem, it's simply this. When we are multiplying variables next to a coefficient, what we have to do is we have to divide by the number next to a variable, which is in this case the 3. That way, because we know 3 divided by 3 makes 1, so it goes away. Now, because we're balancing equations, what you do to one side, you do to the other. If you add weight on one side, you add to the other. Here, because we're dividing by 3, I have to divide by 3 on both sides. And I like to show it like this in the form of a fraction. And what's nice is it looks like a cancellation. So 3 divided by 3, it just simply makes 1. So I can write 1n. Then 15 divided by 3 just makes 5. Now, we never really ever write the 1 next to n, because 1 times anything is just itself. So we just write n equals 5. And that's all you do. You just simply divide by the by the coefficient next to the variable. Now, when it comes to division, all we have to do is, since this is some number divided by 5 makes 3, we have to, instead of dividing, we have to do its opposite. We have to multiply. So to inverse this, I'm going to go n divided by 5 equals 3. So to get rid of that 5, I just go n equals 3 times 5. Because since this is dividing by 5, I have to bring it over to their side, which, like I said in other problems, you have to do the inverse, which turns it to times 5. Therefore, it becomes times 5. Therefore, n becomes 15. So at this time, pause and see if you can complete the rest. So for B, you have 4n is equal to 12. I want to divide by the 4 on both sides, because the 4 is next to the coefficient variable. So that becomes n is equal to 3. In C, I have 5n equals 35. I want to divide by the 5 because it's next to the n. So n equals 7. In b on the other side, n over 4 equals 2. Since I'm dividing by 4, I'm going to now bring it to the other side, which means I multiply by 4, which n becomes 8. On this one, n divided by 7 makes 6. I'm going to bring it to the other side. Since it's dividing, I have to now multiply. So this becomes n is equal to 6 times 7, which makes 42. And that's all.